I want to show you how you can create a dynamic button. So let's get straight into the video. One of the first things you do when creating a button is to plan. So you have to plan the different events and use cases for that button. And this is pretty much the best practice out there because your buttons would have different states. When the user has not taken an action, maybe when a user is filling an input field, the button would be in its inactive state. And once the user taps on the input fields and start typing, the button becomes active. In some cases, the user would have to complete that action or task for the button to become active. And when it's active, then you can proceed with any task that you want to do. Now, there are several instances where a button will be disabled, and it's because we want to draw the user's attention that there is a task they can do, or there is something coming up soon, but they cannot take that action, and we want them to know that there is an action they can take on such tasks or events. Now, we also have the click state, and the click state is when you click on like something like the navigation on the website, the top bar. Once you click on it, it gives you the click state. So you're also going to have the hover state. The hover state is when you're trying to hover on something. Just like I'm trying to hover on these items, you would see that Figma is giving me a hover state with these blue outlines. Now, if I click, then that gives me a click state. You can see that the hover state is more brighter than the click state. All right. And then I can take whatever action I want to take, like going into all of these and so on. All right. So I hope that is clear enough for you guys. We're going to jump right into the design, but remember, while you're working on any design, let's use the button for instance. Try to plan what you really want to do. Try to plan the different states. Try to plan if this button would be used on mobile, on tablet, or on the desktop. And you would need to plan the different elements for this button. The button is going to have obviously a text. The text is going to have a line height, and it's also going to have a text size. And then you want to know if you would use the same size for all the types of buttons, and or if you would use just one size. Now, the logic is if you're going to use only one size, then why have the large and medium button? There will be no need to create this, but definitely you would need these different types of buttons. So you would need to create a plan for it. Now, in my table, I have created several plans from the color preview to the text color and the hash code for the button itself. So let's get right into the design. Now, the first one I have here is upgrade to Pro for free, which would be the active state of the button. So I'll just select it, and then I'm going to choose this color. This is going to be the active state. And then I'm going to try to make this flow vertically instead of horizontally. You can make yours to flow either way or any way you want it to be. But I think flowing vertically would make the real estate a bit smaller than flowing horizontally. So I'm going to grab this button, hold Alt on my keyboard, and I'm going to bring it downwards. Now, if you don't know how to create a button, it's pretty straightforward. The first things we need to do is get a text. I'm going to type a text, and I'm going to just type in upgrade. Now that we have upgrade, then we are going to look at our table and see the different sizes. For this upgrade, for a small button, we have it as text size is going to be 14, all right? And then the line height is on auto currently, that's 17. We're going to change that to 20 px. And that is going to be our small button. Now we can select that, hold Shift and letter A on your keyboard to turn on auto layout. Now that we have auto layout turned on, we can give it a background color for now, and then we can check the height. Now the height is 40, and what we want to achieve is 32. All right, you can go ahead to make it 40 if you like. All right, that can also work. Or you can come to the vertical layout and then reduce that until you have 32. And that would give you 6. And then you can make this other section 12. Or you make that 18. Whichever way you want to style the width is up to you. If you want it to be as long as this, it's absolutely up to you. I'm sure you must have seen the new Google sign up integration. When you're trying to continue with Gmail, you see that the buttons flow end to end and they are very long. So whatever you want to do with the width is up to you, but I'm just showing you how you can create the button. Now that you have this, if you want to have a rounded button, this is for the benefit of those that are just starting out. You can select the button because we have different types of buttons. So this is the first type. I'm going to give it a second type. So because of those that may have color proficiency, I'm going to just change the color. I'll make this black. It's supposed to be white, or we'll just make that white. All right. So we have these three colors, and this is going to be the sharp button. We have the square button. Would make this 8 in radius. This is called the radius, and then this is going to be the rounded button. And for the rounded button, would make that 60 and above, or just type 100. And these are the types of buttons. Now you can now decide on which one you want. Maybe make this one 4. All right, which one you want to go with for this practice, and that's it. Now we already have a button here, so I'm going to continue with that. The size of the text is 14. I like the size of the height. The height is 44. I'm using 44. You can decide to increase that or stick with 32. But for my use case, I'll be using 44, and then I would scale it subsequently to make this one less as I go. So we have this. I'll just delete this, select this, duplicate it again, and we need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 buttons. So this is 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm pressing Ctrl D once I use Alt to duplicate my button. To do that again, so that it's very clear to you, just select the button, hold Alt, drag it downwards, whichever place you want to place it, and then press Ctrl D as many times as you want. So I only press Ctrl D about 4 times. We have our first set of buttons. Now it's time to duplicate it into 3 places to have the large, a medium, and the small button. So I'm going to just select this, holding Alt while selecting all, and I will duplicate it to the side. And then press Ctrl D one more time. And that's it. We have small, large, we have small, medium, and large. Now, based on our table, we have what? We have 32, 40, 48. I'm going to start with this one. I'll start with the first one, the large button. Select all of them, press Enter. Once you press Enter, Enter would help you select all the text at once. And that's what we want to do. We don't want to start clicking one at a time, holding Shift to select all. So just select all by dragging over the buttons, press Enter, and it will select all. And then you can go to your text property, change it from 14 to 18. There's no 18 in the countdown or in the drop down, so you can select this section and just use the navigation key to the up and down. Up to go increase the number, down to reduce the number. So I'm just going to go up 18, or you can type 18. These are different ways you can do this, and I'm doing this because of those that may be starting out. So we have this. We'll just shift it by the side, and I'm going to give it a spacing, so you can see they are all clustered together. I'll change the spacing to about 20, and that is fine. Now there's an issue with this button. We want the text to be straight because it's a large button, so it's going to be on a website, or on a website or on a web app. So we want to ensure that the text is on a straight line. To achieve this is very simple. With all the buttons selected, all I need to do is come over to the resizing, which is here. In the new auto layout, you would find it in the auto layout section, which is brilliant in my opinion. So up here, we're going to change it from fixed width to hog content. Now, that has done something for us, but we need to do something internally. So we're going to press Enter. to select all of the text, and you can see that the text is on fixed width. That is why it did not work. So we're going to change this to hog content, and that's it. Now that we have all of this, we'll need to adjust this button further. The height of this button is 49, and in our large button we have 48. And in my opinion, I think I would have to increase the width of this. So I'm going to increase it to give it a more optical balance, and I will just reduce this a bit. For the height, I think I'm going to increase it some more. So I like spacious buttons, so I'm just going to type in 18, and this is fine for me for my use case. Now I'm going to select all of this and just bring it downwards a bit. Now our large button is complete. Let's go to the medium button. We'll do the same thing. Press enter, select all the text, and then we're going to change the text to 16. Now that we have 16, we can go ahead to make all the buttons, select all the buttons, make them hog content, and then increase their padding. This is the horizontal padding, so left to right. And then we would also increase the height. So we have 13. I'm going to make that 16. Now we have our medium button. For the small button, I'm going to leave it the same way it is. The width of this is 236. The frame of a mobile device would be around 390. If I type in 390, so you want this button to fit better inside of it. So we have this. So this is 390 in width, and the height is going to be 844. So if we do this, hold the button and do like a side-by-side view, holding Alt, you're going to see that the padding or the margin on both ends are 77, and that's a lot. So we're going to increase this button some more, centralize it, and do that again. This is 38. It's still more. We'll do that again, centralize it, and that's 19. An easy way to do this is to go to layout grid, click on it, and then we're going to change it from grid. You're going to click on this settings here, layout grid settings, click on it and choose columns. Now with columns, you can easily adjust anything, and that is the best practice for creating whatever design you want to create. Always use grids. Now with the columns, we're going to choose 4 because it's a mobile device, and then we're going to give it a margin. The margin is the left and right adjustment. We're going to give it 20, and 20 is perfect. The gutter would be 16, but we don't need that actually because we're just working on the button. With this, you can now adjust your button to touch those grids, and you would see the red line once it touches the grid. If I take it in here, the red line shows, and that's it. Now this is the button we want. We're just going to move this aside. We don't need it anymore. We'll close this to cut off the distraction. We'll copy this button, Ctrl C. Once you do that, all I need to do is select all of this, and I'm going to press Command, Shift, and letter arrow. If you're using a Windows, then you press Control, Shift, and letter arrow, but they are the same thing. Or if you're the kind of person that likes long cuts, you can right click on it and you're going to see paste to replace. So whichever one you use would give you the same result. I'm just going to do that, and it would paste and replace that button. Now that we have this, we can even adjust this one a bit, and then I'll just send this one a bit this way. I can select all of them, move them upwards a bit, and just press on this icon. It's going to give them the same distance or proximity to keep it more balanced. We'll just move this aside. I don't like seeing frame, so I'm going to change that to UI. That's it. Now that we have all of this, it's now time to apply our colors. So we don't need to do them one at a time. So I'm just going to select the second row, which is selecting what I don't want it to select, but that's fine. We'll do that one at a time. We'll select the second row. I'm going to make this the same I'm just going to readjust this. I'm doing this so that it will be easy for me to select more than one without having to select them one at a time. And that should be it. Good, that's it. So the second line would be the inactive buttons. So we're going to select all of it and we're going to just choose that color. Now the text color on this button would not be white. So we're going to choose the white from this selection colors. Select the eyedropper tool and come over here to pick the color. And that's it. This would be the inactive state. The next state is going to be the hover state. So we're going to pick this color. The color on it would be white. Next is the click state. We're going to pick this one and the color on it would be white. The click state is more darker than the hover state. And the last one is the inactive state. We're going to pick this gray and the color on it would be white. Now that we have all of these states, it's now time to do or perform a magic. The magic we're going to do is we're going to leave the button as it's been stated, spacebar / what type of button is this? You guessed right, large. So we're going to type in large. You can type in capital or small letters. I'm just going to use small letters because the B started with small letters, so that's fine. / what state of button is this? You guessed right, active. So I'm going to type active. So that's a large button. All of these are large buttons. They are first a button, right? And then what styling of button or what style of button are they? They are the large buttons. And what state is the button? The button is in its active state. So we have that. We're going to copy that. Control A, Control C, press enter, and that's it. We'll move to the next one. We'll select it, paste what we copied because we want that large to always be consistent because all of these are large buttons. We don't have to retype them. Now, what state of button is this? You guessed right. Inactive state. That's the inactive state based on our table of content. We'll press enter. We'll do the same for this. What state of button is this? It's the hover state. So we're going to type in hover and we'll do that. The next one is the click state. So we're going to type in clicked. The last one is what? You guessed right. The disabled state. So we're going to type in disabled. And now that we have all of these, we're going to apply the same concept to all of these ones. Now, what style of button is this? It's a button and it's the medium button. What style of button is this? It's a button and it's the small button. You can even reuse different terms like saying instead of large, you can say desktop. Instead of medium, you can say tablet. Instead of small, you can say mobile. It makes it more clearer to your team or whoever will be working on this project, and it will be easier for them to understand. Now, since we've already done this, we're just going to leave it that way because I don't want to start retyping, but that would be the best thing. In fact, I would retype. So we're going to type in desktop. All right, we'll copy our desktop. Press enter, go to the next one. We'll change the large to desktop. Ensure to copy it so that you have this same result that I would have at the end. Now, for this one, we're just going to copy the first one, copy that, come here, paste it, and that would be from desktop to tablet. So this is a button for tablet, and the state of the button is active state. We're going to copy that, we'll paste it here, all right, because we want to be copying and pasting. This one is going to be mobile, so we're going to change the tablet to mobile. Now that we have this, we can now copy this and paste it here. This is going to be inactive. Remember to do the same formatting. Ensure that if you're typing inactive in small letters, it should be in small letters across all of it. So we're going to do the same here. This is going to be hover. Clicked. Disabled. Right. We now have the last one. You can skip if you want to, or you can listen because I might say things in between. Hover, hover. Button, mobile, clicked. We're also going to be doing the icon state. I've been trying to open the icon, but I will try again, and then disabled. Now we have all the naming that we want to give to this, and it is absolutely perfect. Now we want to also include an icon because I want to show you how you can trigger on an icon and off within these systems. All right, but my icon bank is not opening, so if I don't do it now, I will do it in the next video. All right, so we have all of this. Now it's time to apply the components system that would enable us manage this button within our design. What I mean is, if we're working on a mobile view, we will be able to select just this one button and we'll be able to change all of its instances or variants. If we're working on a web, we'll still copy the same button and we'll be able to change it to the web view or in the tablet view. Now let's get back to this. Select all of these buttons, hover on them, and what we're going to do is what? You guessed right. We'll go up here to the components, click on the drop down, and select Create Component Set. Voila, and that has been done. Now all we have to do is come over here. You're going to see desktop, mobile, and what do we call these different desktop, tablet, mobile buttons? We call them style. So you type in style, and then the active inactive would be what? State. So it's the state of the button and not your actual state. All right, so we have style, we have state, and we have button. All of them are buttons. Now all we need to do is select one of it, bring it out, and voila, we have all of that. Let's zoom into this. In fact, let's take it into this frame so we can see it clearly on white. And we have just one button. This is what style of button? The desktop button. And what state? The active. We want to choose the click state or the disabled, the hover, or the inactive state. And that is it. Now, we want to also use the same button to choose a tablet form. I had to duplicate it so you see that the sizes would change. So we're going to change from desktop to tablet. And you can see that the sizes changed. If I move a grid line here, you'll be able to see the difference. So we have this. This is the tablet. In the tablet, we want the hover state. We probably want to change it to the disabled state, or we want to change it to the active state. Now we have this. I will duplicate it again if I'm working on a mobile view, and then all I will do is change it from tablet to mobile. And in the mobile view, I'm just going to change it to the disabled. You can see all of the states and they work perfectly. All right. And I'll just leave it in the disabled so we can see the difference. Now we're going to delete this one. Recall that we have a button here and we don't have any system here. That would now make us always have to create a new button every time we have to work on something. So if I wanted to work on a disabled state, I would duplicate this and start looking for the color, picking the color and all of that, and that can be stressful. So to make it more user friendly and improve the experience of using the buttons, this is basically how you create a dynamic button. I'll see you guys in the next one where we would add the icon into these buttons and we would see how we can reuse those icons and turn them off within our design. Bye.